moving on to the Bride Advisory, formerly known as the RSA, formerly known as the Sun Alliance Chase. Galloping the Champs is your 4 to 5 favourite. Of course, this is not an no bet, so looks like Willie has decided to run him in the Turners against Bob Ollinger, which baffles me. Bob Ollinger here is 5 to 4, but it looks like he's also going for the Turners, although no decision is made. Brave Man's Game is likely to be our favourite. He's 7 to 4 at the moment with FansBet. Then it is 5 to 1 a High Seigneur, 5 to 1 Lawn Press. It is 6 to 1 Capodanno, 9 to 1 Jungle Boogie, and 10 to 1 Bar. Right, we all know Willie just does Willie things, and as Patrick Mullins says, he lives in Willie Mullins land, and that is a place that nobody else resides, okay? But were either of you as shocked as I was when he decided to tell us last week that Galloping the Champs would be going for the Turners? David?
The Turners is the...
It's a 2.5 mile.
Oh, sorry, the 2.5 mile. Yeah, because I think he's... I was shocked because I think he's the only really Gold Cup chance he has in the next couple of years. So I don't understand why he'd run the 2.5. That'll be my shock.
And the way I was looking at it was that this race is easier because there's likely to be no Bob Ollinger in it, and like I think he would have a better chance in this race than he would in the Turners. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. He could get beaten this race. Like he's ran twice over fences, hasn't he? Yeah, twice over fences. I don't know if he's going to be sharp enough 2-5 around here. He's a big, leggy horse. He hasn't really got taken on a whole lot. He did the last day, and his jumping wasn't as good as it was the first day, I thought. I just think a tight track like Cheltenham could catch him out over a distance I think is too short.
What's he like at home?
He's a fine, big horse. Nice to look at. He is big. He's a bit light, all right, and he's narrow.
He's not that big.
Is he not that big, no?
He's definitely 16.3.
He's not.
You have a score on it.
All right.
What was the bet?
He says he's 16.3. I said he's not.
Yeah, I know, but what was the forfeit?
€20.
Oh, €20, okay.
We're not
loaded
as like you.
This is your 4th preview night in a row. He is a gorgeous horse to look at, though, Mike. Like he's the colour of him in Everton. I seen him in Leopardstown. I just thought he was gorgeous.
Yeah, no, he's a great colour, all right, but he's not big. I don't know if you want to run your Gold Cup horse over 3 miles, whatever it is, and butcher him as a 5-year-old. Is he a 6-year-old? So I wouldn't worry about that either. And I wasn't. The only thing I was shocked about was Willie Mullins announcing what he was doing so early, but I wasn't shocked about him going for this race at all.
Well, we've got mixed up with the race titles because this is the Brand Advisory we're doing now rather than the Turners.
Sorry.
But it can easily happen. They change the names all the time.
Yeah.
But Willie said he's not going for this race.
We're talking about Brave Man's Game.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's not. No, he's going for the 2-5.
Yeah. So we'll come on to Galloping the Champs in a minute. Obviously, he's favoured on the sheets there. If we're taking out Galloping the Champs and Bob Ollinger, what do you think is the most likely winner here, Mike?
Brave Man's Game is a certainty, and he would have gave Bob Ollinger and Galloping the Champs all of it. Absolutely.
Do you think so?
Made for this race, laid back, fantastic jumper. Paul Nicholls is going to turn up with a Gold Cup horse soon, and this is him.
Right, I absolutely love the horse. He was one of my strongest fancies at last year's favourite in the Ballymore. But it's just something that's nagging away at me for the last couple of weeks, and that's if you go back and watch the Ballymore last year, he should have finished second, Mikey. He should have finished second to Bob Ollinger. I don't mind Bob Ollinger beating him. Bob Ollinger's a freak, but Gallard de Menil was able to pass him. I don't think he enjoyed coming up the hill, I have to say. I think he could just be a bit of a flat track bully.
Did he make the running, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, hard thing to do. Denman got betting as well, did he?
Yeah, he did,
He went on to be a freak.
Nick Canor,
yeah. Yeah, Nicholls' horses, he hasn't fired out many Cheltenham winners in the last couple of years, but this lad will make a length at every fence.
Incredible jumper, isn't he?
Incredible jumper, brilliant racing mind for a novice 3-mile race. I think he's bomb-proof, and Galloping the Champs ran a little bit keen over 3 mile. Like, I know he's a fantastic leopard, but you know, Cheltenham, the fences are in different spots and they come up at you quicker. Like, you know, you just rather. I can understand completely why he's running in the Turners that way.
Okay, interesting. And you think
I rode him in the Grade 1 last year, Brian.
You did?
Yeah. He's not a big horse though.
I scolded him twice before you ever rode him.
Maybe we're going to
You wrote him at Leperson, didn't you?
Do you know what to do?
We'll ask Willie to get
you
the measuring stick out there
You
now.
tweet the crowd tomorrow and we'll sort out this height issue.
I'm staying away from you on Twitter.
You rode him today in Leperson, didn't you, Gallop in the Shams, when he was 100-1, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
He didn't strike you as a superstar that day, obviously.
No, no, he
2 miles.
He hadn't ran in a while, and
He ran about 6 weeks beforehand in Christmas.
no, he didn't. He ran in Gorn in about October.
No, he didn't. He ran in Christmas and he went off odds on. And
Oh, he
got
did. You're right. Okay, sorry, we're not going to keep on.
Doubles or quits.
Right, I don't know.
David, we didn't get your most likely winner of this race. If Gallopin and Bob don't go here, are you a Brave Man's Game fan?
I'd be very worried about him getting up the hill. Exactly what you said. Sexual to look at going around over fences in Haydock that day. But when you give him a squeeze, he's still on the bridle. But I just didn't think he could. His legs could go any faster.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
I think that's what you see is what you get, and I don't think there's anything else there after that. I don't know, a high senior, will he be able to get far enough clear of him? I'm not sure. It's a funny race. Lamb Press, he was good around there the last day. Jumps very well. I'd have a few quid on him maybe, yeah.
He was Turners.
Turners, yeah.
It's likely. Well, they haven't
So
decided.
they're talking about going for this race now.
Yeah, it could change obviously, and it's tricky obviously because we don't know who's running where. I agree with a lot of what David said there, Don. I'll tell you what, I'll lay my cards on the table. I think a high senior is a good thing here.
Yeah, no, I think he's the difference between him and Brave Man's Game is bigger than it should be. I think he should be closer to him in the betting. I think the track would suit him better than Brave Man's Game. Even like he got beaten in the Felton by him, but yeah, he's just a really good jumper of fences. They were talking about maybe going for the Gold Cup with him, weren't they?
It looks like he's going to go here now.
Yeah, which is grand. Long Press, he was always on track for the Turners, and then when Gallopin de Champs maybe was going for the Turners, they kind of had, well, maybe we'll go for the 3 mile race instead. Is Gallopin de Champs definitely going for the Turners then? Is that confirmed now?
That's what Willie
I didn't read.
Yeah.
I was there. I asked because I was so shocked. I asked him 3 times.
Yeah, but he didn't say
sure?
definitely. He said
they've mixed up the race titles.
He
Really.
didn't say definitely, they don't know.
He said it doesn't say definitely about much.
No, he does. He didn't say definitely. He goes. Hold on, keep talking. I'll find you the
That
quote.
could happen though. He could have been.
Go on, keep talking. I'll find you the quote. Go on.
So and interestingly, right? The
You have
Turners.
2 minutes there.
The Turners is actually 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. It's not even fully 2.5 miles.
He's going down a trip. Yeah.
And the PJ Moriarty is 2 miles, 5.5 furlongs. So actually, it's probably not as big a jump up to the Brown Advisory as it is down to the Turners. Similar. Plus, he won a Grade 1-3 race over 3 miles over hurdles last year at Punchestown. So I was surprised. But that said, look, he's a pacey horse. He jumps really well. So he's going to take a lot of beating wherever he goes. But I think the overlooked horse in the Brown Advisory is Beacon Edge. He's had a bit of a stop-start season so far. He had a bit of a setback. He won the Drinmore Chase, and then he had a bit of he had a setback before Christmas. He didn't make it to Christmas. Then he fell early on at Leopardstown, and then last time he finished within 3 parts of a length to Farouk Dalen, giving him £7. And to me, that was a really good run, given that he's probably going to come on for that run. His run in the Stairs hurdle last year was a really good run. He finished 4th in the end behind Florian Porter, but he actually went with Florian Porter. He chased him around the home turn, and then he just got tired from the final flight home. I thought that he ran better. He could have finished 2nd if he hadn't chased Florian Porter as early as he did. And back at Cheltenham, I just think he's a 14-1 or 16-1 shot. I think that's too big about him.
Interesting. That's Beacon Edge. So I found the quote. So this is what Willie said. Gallopin did it very well at Leopardstown, and I can't see him going up to 3 miles. It's not a decision yet, but at the moment I'd be favouring going for the shorter race. He was so good the first day, and he was very brave the last day. I think Paul learned a lot about him the last day. He could go in either race, and I want to have a chat with Paul, but I'd be happy enough to go in the Turners. I think he has the ability to do that. He jumps well, he's sharp, and I don't think he needs to go 3 miles. Bob Ollinger is obviously a worry, but I'd be thinking our man will be better off in the shorter race. I'll have a chat with Paul and see what he's thinking, but that's the way I'm thinking at the moment. So
it's a strange one too, because you'd have like Owen Collier or Sam maybe stepping up for the Turners if they wanted, whereas for the 3 miler it's Capadonna really, isn't it?
He always likes going shorter with horses. Like
I would too.
does he? Yeah.
Everyone does though.
Because like he
Henry
struggled
Bromhead,
so long
yeah.
to win a Gold Cup, and it worked for Album Photo. I know he fell in the RSA, he ran him again in Fairyhouse, and he did get a hard novice season.
He'll know he'll
So-
outstay something over shorter, like. It's always nice to have that tool, like, in your
Yeah,
side.
you know you'll stay.
Yeah, you can.
You can go back up.
Yeah.
Diarmuid Nolan, are you a Brave Man's Game fan for the Brown Advisory?
The last time we did our preview was the Dublin Racing Festival Preview, and I agreed with you that Diarmuid Nolan was a machine. Leopardstown was good, but I probably agreed with Stephen Cass a bit more afterwards, not to get too excited with him just yet. Brave Man's Game, I thought the last day, as much as I love Pat's Fancy, I just thought that performance was absolutely class. I thought his jumping was
But
absolutely...
I thought you said Pat's Fancy wasn't too busy.
No, but still, like even the line to Grumpy Charlie back in third, that's still to give those horses weight like that 142 rated horse or whatever else. I think Grumpy Charlie could win a handicap off that kind of rate as well. To give those horses that kind of weight and a beating that comfortably with Paul Nicholls' horses running like drains as well, there's an awful lot to that. The hill though continues to be a small concern of mine as well. As much as I absolutely love Brave Man's Game, it is a small concern for me. And the one I've landed down on is a 16 to 1. Dusart is very talented. He's been going right-handed this year and hasn't shown him to kind of best effect. Nicky Henderson was intimating at his preview or his stable day or whatever else that this horse could well go to the RSA or the Brown Advisory, sorry. And I just think if he can get around, like that performance last time, he just hated going right-handed, but he still was just buried that field. And as much as like, I kind of thought he was a supreme horse, to be honest, at the start of the season, but he's a horse that clearly stays all day, and at 16 to 1 or so, he's got a class about him that isn't, as a novice hurdler, you wouldn't have had him after that first run of Newbury that far behind Brave Man's Game. So at 16 to 1 or 20 to 1, or I'm not sure what price he is, but he's, I think he could run a huge race.
Well, I don't know if you know, but I do a show called Up in the Ante Out every Tuesday, 5 o'clock roughly. And one of my first tips was Dusart for the Arkle, because I was over at Nicky's back in November at the open meeting at Cheltenham, and I saw him school, and he was electric. He was electric. He's jumped. I think he's jumped terribly in his
I
two
think
starts.
he's just going the wrong way.
Maybe
I
he is
don't think
going the wrong way.
I don't think he's doing anything wrong over his fences. He's just trying to go left while going right-handed.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe he will put it all together when he steps up and trip. But I love the horse, but I'll tell you, if we're here this time next year, I'll buy you a drink for the night if Dusart wins this, because this is a proper race. Brave Man's Game, a high senior, Capodanno. If Lon Press goes here, I'd be surprised now. But far be it from me, you're a far better judge than I am. Dean Ryan,
Doubt that.
where do you stand with Brave Man's Game, a high senior?
I think it's a really sensible move for Willie Mullins to swerve Brave Man's Game with Galloping de Champs, to be honest. I'm that confident that Brave Man's Game jumping to win this all day long. And they may as well go take on Bob Oninger. I actually think he had beaten both races. There's a future in Galloping de Champs, but I don't think it's this year at Cheltenham. I wasn't that impressed with the last run. I thought the jumping was a bit crabby. He beat Langer down in the handicap, and then he's gone and beat Master McShee. I think we're talking about an overrated horse at this point. Although there's a few
Hammered him though. Hammered.
Yeah, hammered him, but wouldn't be even in the mix in this race. I don't think. Brave Man's Game 7 to 4 right now is mental. I think it's still
Mentally
way too
good?
early. Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like I think it's more heartbreak
7 to
from
4, like
you're
that's
worried
7 to 1.
you're worried
7
about
to
the
4.
you're worried about the hill from the
Ballymore.
race last year. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's more heartbreak in the jockey. I don't think the jockey must have gone there thinking I'm absolutely on Denman reincarnated. Right? That was the vibe. You gave me that vibe as well from the preview last year.
I learnt my lesson.
And they all thought that, so they couldn't believe what they got beat by. But you have to remember they got beat by Bob Oninger.
And Gallard de Manille.
Yeah, but that was eventually, right?
He was dropped in a bit.
Yeah, I think eventually they got
He
beat
still
by
finished second.
Yeah,
but
eventually,
still.
but it wasn't.
Yeah, he was picking up a broken heart.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is a jockey
maybe,
go,
yeah.
oh my God, how has this happened to me?
Top of the game was
On
beaten
this
over
horse.
2.5 miles
Yeah,
in Cheltenham as well. before
Brave
he went
Man's
to win
Game
that.
is the new
be fair.
Denman. And I think
Sort.
Paul Nicholls has got a Gold Cup horse here. He will win this race. Galloping de Champs should swerve Brave Man's Game because the jump will break his heart. And I think this is an absolute certainty.
Okay.
There we go.
I genuinely do hope you're right, because I love the horse, but I'm with David on this one. I think we were fooled a little bit up the home straight at Newbury the last time. I'm not sure how much was in the locker.
I think you have to remember the jockey's mentality is that he can't believe he can get beat and suddenly he's getting beaten. That does change. I'm not one. There's two here.
I thankfully, for horses, have never sat on I have done horse riding lessons. I was shocking, but there's a lot more going on, isn't there, boys, than we see. Like Paul Carberry told me when I interviewed him recently, like it was all about his legs. Everything was in the legs. I think there was more squeezing going on the last day with Brave Man's Game than we kind of gave it credit for, maybe. I don't know.
I thought it even in Haydock.
That's what I'm talking about. Is it where do you run the last day?
Newbury.
He won Newbury, but I'm talking about Haydock.
I'd say you'd be squeezing him walking down the road to the Gallop.
Right.
He's that sort of lazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deuce Out's no back number, isn't it? It's a super engine in that horse, and Demo's right to pull him out. I think if there is a flyer in here, something that's going to surprise everyone, it'll be that one.
Okay, and Dan, to sum up here, Brave Man's Game 7-4 with you guys. Are you a Brave Man's Game fan? We've a split camp here.
He's the one that's attracted the most support, probably because he's a guaranteed runner, whereas everything else isn't. For me, I'm just not sure what does he find when he's asked? He jumped the last against Pat's Fancy, 4 lengths ahead. When he finally got squeezed along, he finished about 4 lengths ahead. He's never necessarily found much. I think, again, we probably point to Bob Ollinger.
Class,
Yeah. The poor guys who are doing shots for every mention of Pat's Fancy, they are
Pat's Fancy,
they're not
Pat's
making
Fancy,
it free.
Pat's Fancy.
They're not
One of them
making
lying
it
down
free.
over there.
I'm just not sure how much you'll find. I think if he comes up against a top class horse, I think he might just find one too good. I think if Long Press goes here, I'd have him all day. I think 5-1 number on no bets is the bet for me. I think he's the best novice chaser in Britain.
Okay.
I think he's fantastic. I think next season, even if he doesn't run here, he'll be a big player in those 3 mile chases.
Yeah, he's a terrific jumper, isn't he? Especially going left-handed.
And he hits the line so powerfully over 2.5. Like this, given the way the Turners looks like being, I think they'll go here, and I think he's got a massive chance.
Okay, I'm going to keep you on your toes here in the crowd. Okay, I want a show of hands. Who thinks Brave Man's Game is going to win the Brown Advisory? Whoa!
Wow.
That's not even a tenth of the crowd. No. Probably
It's about 7-4.
So the crowd are not so sure. I think the crowd might be in agreement with myself and David, and I'm going to keep with the crowd as we move on to the champion chase.